Hear me and rejoice, for I have seen Avengers Endgame, and this is my non-spoiler review. So if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you never miss out on my take on all things movies. And I'm not doing this review today alone. I am joined by two people whose grandeur I bow before. Ali and James, say hi to the lovely people. This is, of course, our non-spoilers review. I promise 100% you are safe from all spoilers in this video. So, I'm just going to give some quick thoughts of my own, and then I'm going to let these two give their thoughts. So, first of all, Avengers Endgame is a film that I actually really enjoyed. I held my bladder for 3 hours. I did go before, and I almost didn't make it. I enjoyed this film. It has some very, very awesome moments, and then some moments that I didn't like so much. This movie, for me, is overall, it's a mixed bag. It has a lot of good and then a lot of not so good. There are a lot of things I could have done without. What those are specifically, obviously, I can't get into, but we'll talk about some of those things in this review vaguely, as vague as we can. So, Ali, you're first. What did you think overall of Avengers Endgame?
Overall, I enjoyed it. It didn't feel like 3 hours, so pacing was a-okay with me. Performances across the board really good, with a few quibbles that I have that I'll go into later. And it had some big moments, some really big moments that I was really happy to see.
James, what did you... Avengers Endgame. You hated it, right?
Not as good as
You hated it.
Yes, because I hate everything with happiness.
Yeah,
Didn't
you hate
you know
it, yeah.
that? That's why I hate Us, and that's why I hate Get Out, and that's why I hate Black Panther, because apparently I'm a racist who hates happiness. No, worse than Infinity War, better than Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel I think was on the worst end of MCU films, but it's still a good film, which is saying quite a bit for the success of MCU films.
So you're putting it in between Infinity War and Captain Marvel. So that's still pretty good, actually. Yeah. That's still pretty good. So here's the thing. This movie is 3 hours long. Did this movie need to be 3 hours long? Like, did it need to be?
No.
There were things I could have gone without.
They could have... It really did suffer, I noticed, from having a lackadaisical plot that didn't quite go anywhere.
Had before.
Yeah.
Lackadaisical. Oh, I can come up with a few of them. I mean, if you wish for me to be loquacious, but I can also be quite reticent if need be. But no, it's definitely should have been more concise, because it sort of wanks a little bit, and I don't really know how else to describe that.
It has moments to me, like there is some stuff with Chris Hemsworth that I think all three of us can agree we didn't need it, and like Ali said, you know, the performances across the board are all good. There's moments with Chris Hemsworth where it's not so good, and story-wise, like that first act, the first maybe hour, while it has great moments in it, and it's fun, and at no point did I feel like I was ever bored watching the film. There are moments in that first act especially that just were really kind of stupid, to be honest with you. They weren't, yeah, there's just some moments in this film that I just couldn't get on board with. There are things that they tried that I didn't like. Anything in particular stands out without getting too particular?
Well, like you said, like what I said,
it's goofy.
There's goofy bits, and it's pretty much all Thor for me, but I think that first hour is by and large fine. Like, it's the first hour, there's a lot of setup. I'm okay with that. But the stuff with Thor, for me, just doesn't work. It doesn't hit the mark that it's obviously going for.
It's a lot of humor involved with that, and it misses it misses the mark. Whereas, like, in Ragnarok, I feel like all that comedy with him worked. Yeah. All the time, like every time. In Infinity War, it worked. And there are some funny Thor moments in this movie as well, but it's very hit and miss.
Yeah, that first hour, like, I don't think I really chuckled at that whole shtick. After that, it gets better with Thor.
There are still hit and miss moments.
There's still hit and miss, but it's better.
And that first act in general, I feel like, is kind of messy because, and look, we all understand it. You know, there are so many plot and story threads that they have to pick up from previous movies in Endgame. And so I understand that from tying it all together, but it is messy. It is messy.
Funnily, everything you say I would apply to the second act in particular.
Wow. Okay.
Without
Was it a bit more messy, like all the way through for you?
the first act was trying to piece everything together so I could understand it, being the fallout from the first movie, which is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But as soon as you migrate into the second act, there was a lot of opportunities that they outright missed, and a few of the decisions and consequences leading into the third act were undermined by the kind of weak storytelling at that point.
Okay.
Like, obviously, they're going to have this epic battle at the end, because that's what every MCU film has. And sure enough, that was fun, but...
I like how understated that was. That was fun.
But it didn't really get me particularly excited, because...
Oh, see, I got very excited.
I could tell you got excited.
Yeah,
I was
sitting
hearing
next to you.
The other, there was a moment, when was it, in the first act, right at the beginning of the movie, there is a moment that happens, which is an epic moment. The noise that came out of my mouth wasn't human. I made this noise that, it hurt, actually, quite frankly, to make this noise. And look, this movie is very character driven. It's almost a character piece, especially for that third act to me. And what I love about this movie is the emotion behind it. There are moments in this movie, I think I cried 3 times. Actually cried. Sometimes, I just get my bottom lip goes, but I don't actually. I was crying.
Wow, and here I thought it took Coco to make you cry.
Oh, I cried with Coco, but this was this is like 10 years of storytelling. I've lived with these characters for 10 years, as we all have, and there were, Ali and I had to hold hands because it was just too much. So any final thoughts before we wrap up? I think we all enjoyed Avengers Endgame. To me, I feel like Infinity War is the overall better movie. Endgame had better nerdgasm kind of moments.
Yeah. So just because it's been a topic of a lot of often very heated discussion, I would like to discuss a bit of what Captain Marvel is bringing to this movie.
Yes, and seeing as you brought up, there's something with her in the first act that you said something that made me kind of okay with. I'm still not okay with it, but we won't get into what that is.
Yeah, no worries. She was in it a lot less than I expected, and I'm fine with that. Like, I think they used her as much as they needed to.
But and that's the thing, every character in this movie got their moment.
Yeah.
Everyone got a moment. James, any final thoughts on the movie?
No, not really.
James hated the movie, as you can tell.
Hated it.
Look, it's good. I think choice of music could have been a little bit better.
You mean like soundtrack-wise or score?
Both.
Okay.
Like, really just the use of music. It's not... I didn't have any real grievous issues with it. I think if they implemented a slightly better score, it would have driven up the emotional impact. I think it's a little shallow on that end, but...
Do you know what? There's something to that in moments to me the score didn't work. I'm kind of with you there. I'm not always with you.
I don't think it was a dysfunctional score. I've heard bad scores.
I mean, I'm not with you to the end of the line. So, but overall, you Endgame, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Yes?
I'm definitely for it.
Oh, yay.
So that will do it for our non-spoilers review of Avengers Endgame. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. If you did, remember, hit that subscribe button, ring that notifications bell so that you never miss out on our take on all things movies. Look out for our spoilers review coming in the next 3 or 4 days. I'm going to leave it a little bit and give everyone a chance to go and see it. So look out for that. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Tom. That's Ali. That's James. I just hit the microphone. And I'll see you guys next time.